We have a new idea from the gun rights side of the debate coming out of Maine. What would you do, Tim, if I told you the new hotness was a yellow flag amber alert system that would give text messages to everybody when something was going wrong around yellow and red flags? And that's the gun defense side of the argument.
So this is a self-proclaimed pro-gun politician saying that his pro-gun idea is yellow and red flag laws coupled with, well, if something happens and they're looking for somebody that's covered under one of these yellow or red flag laws, they're just going to text message everybody with pictures of this person saying, help us find this man and don't sell him a gun and don't do this. Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thanks, Doc.
You know, Tim, I was concerned that it was going to be a very complicated explanation, but it seems like you've got the gist.
Yeah.
When I dove into this and I said no, they aren't really. They are okay. They are. So this is actually an attempt to avoid red flag laws in Maine, to keep yellow flag laws in Maine. And so as an attempt to actually look like you're doing something, but you're not losing to red flag laws, this is what they proposed. And I'm going to walk you through the whole thing here. I think there's a lot of things that we can make fun of here, but there's also a lot of things we really got to talk about, because this is pretty bad. This is not cute, as they say on the streets.
The mean streets.
It's just so bad. The mean streets. Oh, the mean streets of Maine. Yeah. Let's get into number 8. Because these Mainers. All right. Lawmakers. Advocates.
Don't they have historically low crime debate to begin with? But anyway.
Oh, like astronomically low.
Yeah.
Like it almost doesn't exist. Yeah. It's almost like there was a outside force that descended upon Maine and they want to push certain things, which might sound familiar in a second. So lawmakers, advocates prepare for gun debate as they return to the legislatures. Okay. That's happening today, by the way. Members of both major parties plan to introduce gun safety reform and spoke of common ground 2 months after Maine's worst mass shooting. So there's a couple of things that I want to really hit here, Tim. First one, this is number 10. This really chaps my butt. I'm going to be honest. Representative Vicky Dodera, Democrat, of course, founded the Gun Safety Caucus and remained its co-chair Tuesday when she met with News Center Maine over Zoom. She believed common ground could be found on policy positions like red flag laws, universal background checks, and a waiting period to buy a gun. Tim, do you find it fascinating that they always want to find common ground only on their ideas?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's no different than when they talk about the Supreme Court being out of balance. What that means is they don't have the majority. Balance to them is having the majority. That's balance in the leftist mind virus world. And so, yeah, when they say that and this goes back to an argument I've made for decades. They say, well, we just need to find common ground. We need to compromise was the word. Now they're saying common ground.
Correct.
They're replacing the word compromise with common ground. And what does compromise mean? Well, they can't use that anymore because we've successfully pointed out for decades that a compromise implies that both sides get something of equal value, right? You want your red flag laws? Great. Then we undo the 1986 machine gun ban. That would be a negotiation, right? Both sides get something. I'm not saying I would agree to that.
Weird.
What I'm saying is,
No, it's a hypothetical.
Right. I'm just saying you give, you get. But what the gun grabbers want is to get and not to give. So there is no compromise. There isn't common ground. Their idea of common ground is give me all your guns and shut up and sit down and pay your taxes. That's their idea of common ground. Just like their idea of balancing the court is making sure that they have a 3 or 4 seat majority by packing the court. Because right now it's unbalanced because they're not getting the decisions they want. They're lunatics. Anyway.
No, hold on.
Disingenuous lunatics. Disingenuous. I'm sorry.
We had questions in the audience. I could almost hear them wondering how you really felt. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Let's find common ground on exactly what I want. Okay, well, hey, here's a hypothetical, and I said this in my video on when I covered this. The Second Amendment shall not be infringed. We can find common ground on that. So, we're just going to get rid of machine gun bans. We're going to get rid of ghost gun bans. We're going to get rid of yellow flag laws. But we're going to find common ground around those 3 main areas.
It's just the same old
it doesn't
shtick,
seem,
different day.
It's kind of weird, right? And also, I love how they automatically came out with the just so happened, Tim. I'm sure coincidences abound in the gun control world. I'm sure that the exact same policy positions that Everytown for Gun Safety, Moms Man Action, Giffords.org, and March for Our Lives, all three that they pushed consistently over the past several years showed up here, just happens to be in Maine, ready for the open legislature. I tell you, coincidences abound. They do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
weird.
not like we not pointed this out in the past. How
Yeah.
these goofballs.
Yeah, but we got to do it a lot, Tim.
Yeah.
But we got to do it a lot.
Moving,
We do.
moving unison,
In
moving
fact,
lockstep. They're goose stepping their ways to to work tomorrow. Yeah.
you know, I don't agree with them politically, but their organizational zest, it is a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, so now
they're good at rallying their troops and getting everybody moving in the same direction. The direction
they're
towards
very good at that.
abolishing freedom, shredding the Constitution. They're marching in the wrong
But
direction, but
dadgummit.
hey, they're in lockstep. Bless their
But
nasty
they're in
little souls.
lockstep.
Yeah.
They get organizational credit. They do. So here we go, Tim. This is here just when I thought we were really concerned about Maine in this opening legislature session. Here comes the stalwart defender of gun rights. Check this out. This is number 11. Representative John Andrews, a Republican from Paris, said his party's first priority with regard to firearms would be protecting the state and federal rights of gun owners. Oh, okay. Well, that's a good start. But
There's always that
there's always a but. There's always a but. He planned to introduce a bill in the coming session he believed would save lives and protect licensed gun sellers at the same time through his so-called yellow alert system. And here's what it is. The painted picture here is beautiful. Quote, if someone does something to trigger a statewide alert, FFLs or gun dealers would get a text and a photo, kind of like an Amber Alert. It would say, do not sell to this person, and they are either wanted by police or are in crisis. Tim, I can't see anything going wrong with an idea like
Okay,
this.
look.
This is
What
So
bill
progressive.
of goods were we sold during the Clinton administration? It was called the NICS system, and then a few years ago we fixed NICS. Right? We made it even more restrictive.
What bill of goods?
Adding more restrictions and demanding reporting from all the different state agencies and stuff like that into this NICS system when they fixed it. And so what does the NICS system do? Well, when you go to a gun dealer, if you're wanted for a crime, an actual crime, like you're really wanted for something you've done wrong because you've gone through the process of going to court and being convicted of doing wrong, then you will get denied a gun purchase by the federal government through the NICS system. So what he's proposing here is, well, you know, there's not really a crime. We just got this yellow flag law. We think there might be a problem here. So we're just going to go ahead and send out this alert and tell FFLs they can't sell to this person. Under what federal law do you think you can do that? And they're saving, they're saving FFLs. What are you saving an FFL from? They already have the NICS system. What do you mean you're saving the FFLs? You're from what? You plan on suing the FFLs for doing business? It's just... But the whole thing about red flag laws and yellow flag laws is that by their very nature, they circumvent our constitutional rights.
Oh,
Basically,
absolutely.
what this means is I can make an accusation against you, Braden, that I think you're violent. I'm saying you threatened me last night on the phone, even though I can't really prove it, but I can prove that we were texting with each other, and therefore I'm going to stand steadfast in saying that you were threatening me and you shouldn't have a gun, and then with that allegation only, they'll go to your house, take your property away from you, and then they hold on to it until they can try you for a crime. Or eventually...
And you prove you're innocent.
Yeah, until you're guilty now, until you go to the court and prove yourself innocent. I believe there's something in the Constitution about that too. And then you might get your stuff back, but in many cases, you have to sue to get your stuff back. What if you're not, what if you don't have the money to do that? And what is this nonsense of taking people's property away from them? I think there's something called the Fifth Amendment that says you can't do that.
It is. There is. That's true.
Anyway.